coastal village of Thumba in the outskirts of Thiruvananthapuram was identified as an ideal location, given its latitude and natural geological features, to allow for rocket launches and allied research. Imagine, friends in this house, a sleepy village with golden beaches and palm-fringed coconut trees, populated largely by an overwhelmingly Catholic community of fisherfolk. The catch, however, was that the community of scientists had identified a piece of an area of land, which housed in Thumba the Saint Mary Magdalene Church and the residence of the bishop himself, Peter Bernard Pereira, his own official residence. Now, in any other community or any other part of the world even, the matter might have been put to rest right there. After all, the idea, the thought of displacing an active spiritual establishment would certainly have evoked outrage and fury, especially in today's India. But in this relatively obscure part of India near Thiruvananthapuram, where a decision of national importance and scientific progress presented itself, the community chose to make a remarkably patriotic choice, a choice for development and progress. When initial conversations with politicians and bureaucrats made little headway, something special happened. One day, when Bishop Pereira was sitting in his little office in the church, he heard a knock on the door. He said, "Who is this?" And a man in a white suit came and said, "I am Dr. Vikram Sarabhai." Dr. Sarabhai explained the importance of this area to India's scientific research in space. The bishop understood the proposed mission of the scientists, and he told Dr. Sarabhai, "Come to my church on the following Sunday." So during the Sunday service, Dr. Sarabhai was there, and Bishop Pereira presented a proposition before the congregation. "My children," he said, "I have a famous scientist with me who wants our church and the place I live in for the work of space science research. Dear children," he said, "science seeks truth by reasoning. In one way, science and spiritualism seek the same divine blessings for doing good for the people. My children, can we give God's abode for a scientific mission?" The answer from the congregation was quite literally a resounding Amen. The church and the bishop's house, as well as other neighboring inhabited areas, were handed over without protest to Dr. Sarabhai and his team. Thus was established in 1962 the Thumba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station, or TERLS, which would later be renamed Vikram Sarabhai Space Center after the death of the legendary Dr. Sarabhai 9 years later. A year after TRLS was established, India launched its first two-stage rocket, our first foray into space, from Thiruvananthapuram. As our late President, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who was part of the original launch team in 1963, and he went on to work from the church building himself, he wrote later, looking back at this remarkable episode, "Today among us, Professor Vikram Sarabhai is not there, Reverend Dr. Bernard Peter Pereira is not there, but those who are responsible for the creation and make the flower and blossom will themselves be a different kind of flower, as described in the Bhagavad Gita," he said, and he quotes the Gita, "See the flower, how generously it distributes perfume and honey. It gives to all, gives freely of its love. When its work is done, it falls away quietly. Try to be like the flower, unassuming despite all its qualities." That is what a lot of ISRO's foundations have been, sir. Unassuming, but with the power to change the world.